The mess on my desk. Oh, well. Hi. This is good thing we're all so flexible, huh?
Exactly. Yes, indeed.
Turn on a dime. You get to see in my office today, which I didn't know I was going to be in here, so it's a little messy, but that's because I'm busy working.
There you go.
This is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and podcast #1 Internet Singles Talk Network. And this is Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine.
And a couple of weeks ago, I was thinking about this, how we talked about the words that men and women like hearing, as well as the words that men and women don't like hearing. And one of the things we came up with was criticism.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's such a hot button.
Hmm.
So today we're going to dive deep into that and how, because truly, and we touched a teeny bit on it, how men and women look at criticism so differently.
Yeah,
It
both.
feels nobody likes it. We react differently. We use it for different reasons. We hear it different ways. And so this is one of the great bonus points you get, that you have a man's point of view and a woman's point of view at the same time. It's one of the
That's
unique gifts you get from our program, right? Because not everybody has that. You get one or the other in most other programs.
exactly. That's why we're so special.
We are very special. We're special individually and collectively are the bomb.
There we go. Love it.
So, as a woman, I acknowledge that I don't like feeling being criticized. I don't like the feeling. I don't like when people do it to me. But I will tell you, it's kind of motivating. It really is. When somebody says, gosh, and especially if I've asked, and even if I haven't asked, you know, that's not a really good color on you. Or, wow, maybe if you did this with your hair, it doesn't feel good, but I'll go, me personally, I'll go, what do I think about that? Do I
Right.
think I might want to think about that? How does that land with me? Some women, it's like, well, yeah, I'm not very secure and somebody must know more than me. And maybe I should just change because they said, without really even giving it any thought. And then sometimes we're like, oh, that's such a sensitive place, but I'm going to lash out because that's a tender space. And what are they doing touching on my tender spot? And I'm going to just push back at them and be mad and never speak to them again, because that's how we women can do too. When we get really mad at somebody, we stop talking
Right.
to them. And so we think that it'll be really motivating to men, because it can often motivate us to at least think about it and maybe make a change, or maybe, solidify that we really like this. And no, tell how it feels when it happens to you, Barry, as a guy, because
Well,
it's so
just
different.
just speak to your example. If somebody, and this is interesting, also depends on who we get feedback from another man or from a woman. That can change how we receive it as well.
Yeah.
Um, when we hear it from a woman, and again, yes, I am a man, but I may not be the same as all the other men on the planet. So bear in mind, this is a personal response, just to be, you know, disclaimer at the beginning. If I get feedback from a woman about something about how I dress or how I present that is presented, quote, negatively, so criticism versus destructive, versus, well, we get the whole thing about destructive and constructive in a moment, but give me feedback where it's coming through painfully, I probably won't lash out, but I will consider the information, see if it's valid for me, and maybe do something about it. So agreeing with what you said, in the same way. But most men, I would suggest, don't necessarily retaliate necessarily, especially against a woman. Now, in some other men, that's a different story entirely.
Yeah.
Because when we critique each other, unless it's somebody we really trust as a friend, which is not often the case with men, because we tend to keep our distance oftentimes, our feedback to somebody else is oftentimes thrown back in our face, almost in the sense that because the masculine is very competitive, energetically speaking. So if a man criticizes another man, the one receiving can feel like they're being put down, so the other person can be stepping up. So we're going to like, no, 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 we're not allowing that. We're playing, we're going to balance the game field again and put the other one down. So it isn't necessarily that done that calculatingly or that overtly, but it's kind of unconsciously with men that we want to level the playing field with other men. Different with women, of course, because it's different relationship we have. you know. So that's one thing I would add to the conversation.
Yes, yes. And I imagine it's not new information for me, but the first time I heard it, I was like, wow, of course. Of course. You're always like bumping into each other and doing that, in sparring. It's just how you bond and test and see where the hierarchy is and who's the alpha and are you on a level playing field. And so the first time somebody explained to me, because I never thought about how differently before I knew all this, it would be coming from another man, to go, yeah, it's asserting your power or asserting your dominance, possibly, and possibly consciously or unconsciously. And that this would be such education for the women that are listening to this, going, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that way. And how when men wholeheartedly are just saying something, that we're feeling like somebody's nitpicking, because that's what we're doing. So we assume that's what other people are doing to us because we're nitpicking.
Yeah.
And the part I'm going to give us grace about for women, which is so backfiring for us, is that what I hear all the time in the movies, they say it a lot, and I've had men even say it to me of, I want to be a better man for you. I'm grateful that you've helped me be a better man. So we go, okay, how do I do that? And the bass-ackwards way we do that is we're like, oh, so you need to do this. And we do it in such a way that it's not helpful or constructive.
Right.
You really shouldn't talk to your boss that way. And I'm going to preface it by saying you didn't even ask our opinion. You were just telling us a story. Or,
yes,
you're going to wear that? Now, you said you're happy to have a woman help you with your wardrobe because you generally want women to like how you're looking out in the world as a man.
Exactly.
That's a priority to you. But we're like, you're going to wear that? Which is not helpful. It's not helpful at all, because you're not saying what you don't want him and what would you rather him wear. But our intention is to be helpful, to help you be a better person. We generally, there are some bitchy women, generally our intention is really honorable and really good. And what I know from men, and have watched it happen before I knew better, and have men explain to me, that when we do it that way, you back up. Instead of coming forward of, really, you have information and it's going to make me a better man, and it's going to make you like me more and admire me more and make me better out in the world, where they're like, oh no, you're going to wear that? Wow, unsolicited advice. You really, that was a terrible way that you talked to your boss. Or, do you know how embarrassed I was when you did that? Or, why don't you remember to ever call me before you're coming home from work? It's not helpful, ladies. It is going to make them not do the thing you want. And we think, oh, you're just being stubborn and obstinate and argumentative. And it's not. It's repelling, like opposite magnets. You don't think generally, well, that was a really bitchy thing to say, and I'm not going to talk to him, because that's what we women would do. So we think that's what you're doing, but you're like, well, I want her to be proud of me, and I want her to think I'm cool, and obviously she doesn't, and now I have no idea how to not, and why am I even going to stand near this explosion that's happening in front of me, that I seem to be causing, that I have no idea what I did, and I don't know how to fix it and diffuse it. That's what criticism feels like for men, right?
Well, the thing is, yes, and
yes, I love the and.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, we're talking about, just constructive and destructive feedback. The thing as well is also positive and negative inside that too, because the thing is, what happens is, like you're saying, women oftentimes will be providing subtractive feedback, as in that's not working, versus additive feedback with saying that's not working, but this would be better.
Yeah.
That piece oftentimes women miss completely, which is really frustrating to us men, just to be clear on that one. The other part of that, and this is the thing I was going to sidebar for a second, just to put this as an overarching piece, is that the prevailing understanding is that women grow through praise, men grow through challenge. Meaning that when we get something that challenges us, which ideally is constructive criticism, not destructive criticism,
Yeah.
then we can grow and we become better. So that's
Yeah.
one reason it works for us men. But if we give the same feedback to a woman, we be in deep trouble. Because the classic thing is when a woman is trying on a dress and looking in the mirror and says to her husband, "Honey, do I look fat in this?" There's no safe answer for us men.
Never.
So that's the thing, is that women, even especially in love relationships, it's like for us men, it's like walking on eggshells trying to give our woman feedback of any sort because we don't know what's going to be received and what's going to be thrown back with daggers at us, you know?
Yes. Yes. There's no instruction manual. There's no feedback. There's no opportunity to succeed because you really want to succeed. That's really a high priority. And we generally want you to do that. We just don't always help.
Yeah.
We kind of leave you flapping in the wind, or we make you run away or flop down because you're just going to give up. And it's sad how many men feel sincerely, I have no idea how to make her happy. I continue to make her unhappy because I hear about all the ways I'm making her unhappy, and I can't figure out, because I'm obviously supposed to figure out, and she tells me if I loved her enough, I could just figure out how to stop making her unhappy.
Yep.
And all she does is keep criticizing me about all these things I'm doing wrong. And then he's like, I don't understand why that's wrong in the first place, because sometimes it really doesn't feel wrong to them. And then he really doesn't know, well, what would you like instead? And the thing that completely shuts men down that I was awful about is the always and never words.
Oh, God.
I mean, really, why are you there if he never does anything and he's always doing everything wrong? Yep. It's inaccurate 90% of the time when I finally get women to stop. They rant and rant when they first call me. And then I go, let's look at, really, no, it's never always and never. It's never that. Please. Right.
So
demoralizing for men, really.
Well, the thing is that the never and always is not 90% inaccurate. It's 100% inaccurate. Because there's always one chance where the man's done something right or done the right thing. So I just want to clarify that, just to defend men for that one. But the thing about that, and this actually in NLP, we talk about this with the global deletions, where you say basically it's always this or it's never this, because we have a tendency as human beings, regardless of gender, a way of generalizing things into such a state that we exclude any possibility of it working. And so we look through a lens that it's always this way or it's never this way. And that's one of the challenges. So yes, for men and women especially, and I say men giving up, that's the thing that happens for men oftentimes, is they feel like they're being battered down by women. And just want to say this out clearly, men are way more sensitive than women give them credit for. So when a woman criticizes a man destructively, subtractively, negatively, all the different words, it's knocking down his safety or a sense of being safe with her and being vulnerable. Yes, men have that concern as well. And so that feeling of giving up, where a man basically feels like she doesn't love me anymore, she's just simply just nailing coffin, putting nails in my coffin sort of thing, angelically, for him to give up makes sense in that way, because he's struggling under the weight of all the negative criticism he's taking on from her, that he's taking very seriously oftentimes, because most men in a relationship will take feedback from his partner to heart. They won't just go, that doesn't mean anything, I'm not going to care about that. So it's going to be taken in a much deeper way. And as I said, we don't have the same luxury, freedom to do the same thing to our partner without risking great danger to our well-being. So the only way to give feedback to a woman, and this is, I would say this way to both genders in a way, is to say, I'm noticing this is what you're doing, what you're wearing, what's happening. May I suggest this is a better alternative? Yeah. Because then there's no criticism. It's wrong, because that's the thing that we fall in the trap of. We just go, you're saying like you're wearing that, which is a total indication to say you wear something that bad. So the reminder is that you can be giving feedback and criticism from a place that is purely additive by simply just saying, rather than this, how about this instead? That I think would give a better result, whatever the situation is. That frankly works for both men and women, I believe, because there's something in that valuing, because it's value added. And that's a gift we can give each other, definitely in a relationship, both men and women give to each other. So try that one on for size.
Oh, yes. And I am going to address the double standard, because as much as we women talk a lot about double standards in the business world, in the personal world.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the man really is at the lower end. He really is way more, and I know women are going to argue about this, susceptible to what we say to them immediately. And sometimes it's not even words, it's just the look of, ugh, disdain.
Yep.
Uh, You are so emotionally, mentally, and physically affected. If you care about us as a person and our opinion, a look is so, and then the wow, look what that does for you. So then I say, ladies, if a look does all of that, think of what your words do. So what if you really want him to be a better person, and or you want him to do something that's better for you or him or the family, the way, and Barry said, some of it is because I'm always the person who goes, this is what I really like. So when my husband said, go through the closet, I don't care what you do, just tell me. And I said, well, I love all the suit and the tie and the shirts, but the casual stuff, I do have some opinions. And so we went shopping and I replaced a lot of stuff, but he had this sweater that he loved. And it was an ugly sweater and it looked terrible on him. And it was the most unflattering thing, but he really loved it. And I said, only wear it in the house. Wear it in the house. It's fuzzy and comfy and I'm happy to cuddle up with it. Please don't ever wear it outside. And he went, okay. He was so fine with that, even though it was really ugly. It was like, let's pick out the most unflattering thing for him to have on his body. And this was the sweater.
Right. And the key thing is, though, the way you framed it, the way you presented it was a way that could be useful to him. So he didn't take offense at it. That's the other part, is that it is, again, we men can definitely feel way more sensitive than most women give us credit for. And so when the negative feedback comes through, the criticism of the quality of what we do, how we are, what we bring, has a debilitating effect on us. So definitely adding a directional opportunity or adding a feedback in a way that is additive or possibility of thinking versus this is wrong, this is bad, you screwed up, that sort of thing. Because, I mean, hey, in divorce, this happens a lot where both partners are basically throwing shovels of crap at each other. So if you want a healthy relationship, if you want to have things different, how about not doing that?
Yeah.
It sounds simple, I know.
I know. And it really does feel simple when you're sitting there calm.
Yes.
It's when you had it. So that's the other thing is, if there's something that's bugging you, if there's something that you really need to be different, and it's not changing, the odds are high that he doesn't understand what you've needed and wanted differently.
Right.
Because we will say, Sally, neighbor's husband, is always bringing her flowers. And he goes, oh, okay. That's just news. It's like, the news on the TV.
Yeah.
And he, unless somebody has told him, find the point, ask the point, there really is a point. He doesn't see a point. He always is looking for the point, but there's no point as far as he's concerned. That if you say, gosh, which I told my husband, I love getting flowers. There's not everybody that does, but I do. And my house was full of flowers before we got married. After we got married, it was amazing because he said, oh my gosh, nobody's ever told me that. And I love giving flowers. So you're going to have a lot of flowers. And I did. Right. So if I said, Sally, the next door neighbor's husband's getting flowers, I wouldn't have had a house full of flowers for all the time my husband was alive. Mm-hmm. And if I'm upset and I keep seeing Sally at work or Sally next door getting flowers, I'm like, well, he must not love me and he doesn't care about me. And why isn't he giving me flowers? And I keep telling him that Sally gets flowers, thinking I am saying, please give me flowers. He's not hearing that. He really isn't hearing that. So it's really our responsibility to say, this is what would make me happy. This is what I would like. And then the guy could say, Wow, flowers a lot. I'm not really a gift giver, but I have somebody that could do that for me. Or I could put a reminder on my phone because making us happy is a big priority for us. Now, ladies, after he does it, then please say thank you. I'm such a broken record about that. But I've had this conversation 5 times this week with women who have dogs. And I go, so how'd you get your dog to pee outside and not pee in the house? Tell me what you do. Oh, I pet him, I reward him, I give him a scratch and a treat. Say thank you to a guy. They tell me this is what they need. They just need a thank you. And then they'll remember and they'll want to do it again because then you're going to thank them again every time. And what happens is we stop feeling critical. That's the point. We get so edgy and so annoyed and so are less nervous standing right there next to your foot and you're going to step on it any second and both of us are going to be in trouble. That if we say, I'd be so happy if you called me every night on the way home to just see if do I need something from the store, just to let me know you're on your way so I could make sure dinner's ready. He'll go, okay. And then when he walks in, you go, thanks for calling. I really appreciate it. Yeah. It's magic how it works. And what I tell people is you're being a really good example. If you live with children or somebody else in your house, they're going to learn to speak their mind, stand up for themselves. It's really important in this world for people to stand up for themselves. You're being a perfect example for that. And you're being an example of saying thank you after.
I'm just looking at it, underscore that because it's so clean and so real is the fact that, yes, in some ways we are very much like dogs.
And tell me that all the time that I'm coaching. So,
well, in behaviorally speaking, that we do respond to positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Tend to respond to negative reinforcement. So again, I said earlier about that sense of when critique hits us hard, we tend to be averse to it and be one to shut down and be away from it. So the encouragement, and yes, I will underscore this very clearly, that ladies, when you say thank you to us, we get it. We value it. We put it away in a lot of bucks in our heart going, she likes me. And that thank you is so valuable. So yes, it isn't a one and done. As much as we talk about this just sidebarring completely with, I know it's John Gray talks about, don't buy your girlfriend or your wife a dozen roses because it's 1 point. Buy her 1 rose every day for 12 days. That's 12 points.
Yep.
The same thing is true of women giving men thanks and gratitude. When you thank us each time we do something, not just the first time, we value that more vividly and we continue to do that more regularly. And it's a simple exchange and it doesn't require much effort. It's the same thank you. But the value in that transforms the relationship and makes us as men feel valued, feel we've been the champion for the day, whatever that is. And we start to feel much more, in some ways, masculine, because there's something about being fed by a woman that makes us feel like we did something good. We did something right. We therefore have value to contribute. Yeah. So that's the opposite of criticism, because criticism, again, when it's negative, is like chopping yourself at the knees. We feel so depleted and so demeaned and so drained by that. We don't sense that we're being loved or respected, which is why relationships can fall apart when it comes from women attacking men that way, which unfortunately so many women have been trained to do. And hopefully this conversation will shift some mindsets for women and for men.
Yeah. I had a man recently tell me that appreciation is one of his food groups. I laughed out loud.
I was going to say love languages, but food groups is a good one. I like that a lot.
I thought it was really thoughtful.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that happened today with a client is I was giving her the same advice and she said, well, wouldn't it give him a big head? And I said, tell me why and what's the problem? And she said, well, when I was growing up, because this is always, I mean, I didn't even have to ask. Usually I go, so who told you that first when you were a kid? But she says, when I was growing up, my father was nice man, but he never complimented me because one of the kids, he said, I don't want to give you a big head. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, well, that was an interesting message. And how do you feel about that now? She goes, I really like compliments and they do make me feel good. And I said, so let me tell you about men. They're even less susceptible to getting a big head. They, if anything, are starting out at a neutral in the world. Men generally are just going along, doing their thing. They feel rewarded because they're doing their thing. They're bringing home money. They're providing for their family,
Mhm.
which is so different from women, why we do stuff. And when you say thank you for doing this thing you're already doing, it like builds them up even more. And I love how you say it makes you feel, because I said it increases their testosterone. And don't you want a man that's more masculine with more testosterone? And you get to do it. You're like a medical device in this way. And
Right.
then when you see the reaction, I want you to receive, you did this. Look at this. I mean, Miss Queen, look at this power you have over this lovely man who went, oh, really? You did that for him. So
Mhm.
receive that, because it's good for our estrogen.
Yeah.
And I'm so clear. Good men could never be overappreciated. Never, ever, 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 ever. I mean, we could say thank you for stuff 5, 6 times a day, and you'll just go, wow, this is really cool. And wow, I must be doing a good job. And the thing that I've told women is, you say one thank you, you'll get 4 times back. Because when
Yeah.
I teach women to do this, they go, he keeps asking me what else I want. He keeps asking me what else I can do. I go, why do you think that is? It's kind of magic. They go, gosh, you're really smart about this. I go, I have men teaching me this all the time.
Yeah.
But women, we give without paying attention that we're getting stuff back. You are very clear on your ROI. You work to get money. You go to sports to further camaraderie and to feel better. You know the circular thing. We just dump. We
Yeah.
don't pay much attention. We get drained. We get worn out. So the way we get filled back up is not in the same way that you do, that we want you to help do the stuff that's draining us. Gosh, hun, go take a bath. Let me do the dishes. Oh, wow, let me take care of the kids. Wow, why don't you go out and have a time with your friends? So that we, without thinking consciously about it, which would be better if we were feeding ourselves, go
Indeed.
feed ourselves back up. Because when we are depleted, you're the target.
Indeed.
Sadly, that's where a lot of the criticism I've learned comes. You really have done lots of really good things, but because we're not taking care of ourselves, we're mad at you,
Yeah. We are the
because
target.
we don't know what to do with this empty feeling, this overwhelmed, this drained, this out, without getting ourselves filled back up again. So you taking some of the work, the tasks are like people's, I've lots of women say foreplay is doing the dishes or vacuuming. I mean, really, we just,
Yeah.
wow, we did stuff without me even asking. It will lower our criticalness. It really can.
And it replenishes you. Absolutely. That's the
And
thing
then
is
the
that,
more we say thank you to you for the stuff that we're doing, not only does it fill us up, but then we go, oh, yeah, there are nice things about him. Oh, yeah, I forgot that he does those nice things. Because we are this great hamster wheel. It's how we are so critical of our bodies and critical of what we said 2 weeks ago, that the criticism of you just keeps feeding itself. And we forget to enter in, oh, yeah, he really does like 4 really good things every day. So if we say it to you, which is now going to be good for you, that we're going to be reminded, oh, yeah, he's not a jerk.
the thing I want to jump in on that is I mean that's profound to say it that way, because it really is the difference in how we operate, because we men are definitely more mechanically, and therefore return on investment, cycling, keeping track of, accounting for all these different things is what we do
Yeah.
more than the women do. So we are definitely fed from that source of appreciation from a woman. So we'll definitely go above and beyond when we're praised that way. The challenge is that we have this challenge we have, because that's right, the thing where the woman asks the man to take out the trash, and it's like he acknowledges he's going to take out the trash, he just doesn't have a clock on it.
Yeah.
And so the when is sometime, because his mind is on something else, because we are more wired linearly, spoken, so to speak. We're
Yeah.
doing one thing really well. Excuse me. So when you ask her for something, and if we're not actually freed up to do it in that moment,
Uh-huh.
go into the hopper. It'll be something we'll get to do, but it may not happen for a couple of hours.
Mhm.
The challenge is a lot of times women, when they ask something, they sort of think about it being done that moment. And so it's not done that moment. There's a negative experience in there, which means when they get upset, then the man gets the cold stare or um, the gruff voice or the ignored fake ignoring of him, so that because she doesn't like what he didn't do, even
Yeah.
though he's going to get around to it, he just hasn't done it yet.
Yeah.
So the trick is recognizing that what's triggering each of us is for different reasons, and knowing that when criticism happens and that ask happens, that the responsiveness is differently wired in each of us because of the timing we carry,
Yeah.
and it's different for both of us. And that piece is why I was talking about it, because it makes such a key point. Because yes, when we are thanked, we will definitely do more and more and more as we love doing. We grow in that we love praise. It definitely works for us in that sense.
Yeah.
And a woman, the same way, when she's valued and praised that way, she becomes more amenable, more juicy, more flowing as well.
Yeah.
But it's generally the task direction seems to go more from women to men in the sense of getting things done. We don't usually ask a woman to do things in the world. Something for us, it's more about the women ask the men do things, because we're the strong men. We go do stuff for women. That's what we're here for, sort of thing. That's the kind of the wiring we have. But yeah, so I just want to put that on the table.
So important. And there's a big pocket of women right now that are saying, I don't want a relationship. Why would I want a relationship? It's so draining. And I lost myself and I gave up myself. And I'm like, most of the time, we didn't realize we were choosing that we just kept giving and giving and
Right.
expecting, or not asking because you're not going to do it the right way. Or the other thing is, it doesn't count as much if I have to ask,
Oh
because I
god,
want him to want to do it.
and to
And I
know to
said,
do it.
so
Yeah,
yes, generally, they're not going to want to do the dishes. My husband liked doing the dishes, but it's they're not going to want to do it. If you say, this would make me really happy if I make dinner and you do the dishes and I'll go take a bath and be waiting for you in bed, the gad's like, I'm doing the dishes. Then you want to do the dishes because it's going to make her happy, and you get a reward of getting to make love to this fresh smelling naked person. So
mm-hmm.
leaving it aside that they have to think of it themselves and want to do it is going to benefit you to just say, this is what would make me happy. I would
Right.
really be happy if you did this. And then men go, oh yeah. So because you're now going to go, oh, I honor you, want a return on your investment of your time and energy to go do the dishes. It's a good reward to go do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the funny thing is, for most men, we like things to be sort of clean, neat, and tidy. It's kind of one of our drives. Because the reason being is because when things are clean and tidy, it doesn't distract us.
No.
One thing for men is we can be very single focused and ignore everything around us, or we were so distracted by everything around us we don't get things done.
Yeah.
So if that's what happens for some, it's going to happen to me a lot. Oftentimes, like doing the dishes, for example, if the dishes pile up, even though I'm not physically focusing on it, there's a part of me that's thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it gets me out of sort. So I don't get productive. I don't take care of what I want to take care of. So oftentimes for me, it's about the more I can do the things that can get done and complete so I can forget about them, the more I can then focus on what I really want to do, which may be to make love to my woman, or it might be to work on my new business or whatever that is.
Yeah.
So there's a definite win-win involved.
Yeah.
When I do something that pleases my woman, and not only that, but she then gives me something even more valuable than that, which is a love, a time, and a space,
Yeah.
then it's such a rich reward. But again, because with my criticism, it's this understanding that there's new ways of doing things that we haven't talked about, that haven't been talked about by people, where we get into the trap, or we fall into the trap of just judging the crap out of each other, which is what criticism really comes down to in that sense.
Assuming we know what's going on. I had the most fun
Yeah.
conversation yesterday. I have this really interesting, fun woman I've been coaching for a little while, and she's now met this guy, and they've been out a couple times with these long, wonderful, flowing conversations. And they texted every day, and it was really exciting. And then he said, would you like to do something? This is Sunday. Would you like to do something next Saturday? And she said, sure. So we get to yesterday, and she's like, well, is it over? I go, what happened? She goes, he hasn't texted. I went, uh-huh. Since Sunday. I go, uh-huh. Well, what do you think I should do? And I said, well, how far ahead would you like to know, just for you? would you like to know what you're doing on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know by tomorrow. I said, okay, let you know on a secret. He doesn't know that. He knows he has plans for Saturday. I bet he'll
Right.
tell you Saturday morning if you leave it up to him. I like knowing ahead of time too. I'm very sensitive to that. So I says, while we're on the phone, I don't know what's going to happen. He could be busy doing something. He runs 2 companies. She runs 4. We're going to send him, hi, blah, blah. Had a great time. Looking forward to our next time. Boy, you make me laugh so much. Looking forward to Saturday. Would you please let me know by 5 o'clock tomorrow what we're going to be doing, when and where on Saturday, so I can be prepared. She sends it off. We're talking. She goes, oh, it was 3 minutes. He texted me back. I go, oh. And what did he say? Wow. Yeah. I'm really in the middle of something, but I wanted to get back to you because, oh, I was going to let you know Saturday morning, but I will be happy to let you know tomorrow. And I think it's going to be really fun too. And I go, and now how do you feel about it? She goes, oh, I'm all happy again. I was ready to break up with him. But
Yeah.
I know this because I used to feel the same way before I knew better.
Absolutely. And that's the thing.
I'm not guaranteeing he's going to respond or step up. And then we know, but at least you gave him the benefit of the doubt, right?
And that's the thing. Again, as I said before, we are good at things one at a time. We're very linear. So when we set something agreement in place, we're done with it until we need to worry about it.
Yeah.
So what you said is absolutely true. He wouldn't think about it really until it was that time, unless he's really excited about it. Then maybe thinking about it beforehand. And the fact that you had her text that way to simply say to him, I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what I need to know ahead of time. Because especially if it's like, what I need to wear, where we're going to be, so I'm being prepared for that. He then doesn't feel threatened or put upon or undermined. He feels encouraged. I say, great, I'm going to basically put some information together and let her know. So that way of communicating is such a shift from what most people do, not only from the point of view of saying that she thought they're broken up, but from him not worrying about it because he doesn't think she needs to know because he's already on track. He's just doing his own thing. So again, differences. This is one of the reasons I love this conversation. The differences are so clear about how we operate, how we function, how we communicate, how we dance in this way. It's such a potent reminder that it's like cannot, should not, ought not to. It's like, which word do I use? It's better for us if we don't make assumptions about each other's way of thinking and we're receiving criticism, because we are different. Men and women receive information, process information, and express information very differently. And to understand that creates more freedom and creates the ability to communicate in a much better way. And this thing with criticism is one of those vehicles through which we discover the differences that don't work for us if we don't do it right. So this conversation, I'm hoping people are taking notes from this, because frankly, there's so many gems in this conversation today.
I agree. For both men and women to go, oh, I never thought of it. I mean, I get this so much when we're coaching. I never looked at it that way. I never thought about it that way. I never knew that about the opposite sex. I never even really acknowledged that about me. Oh, I guess I am reacting that way. I guess I really am thinking that way. I guess I am assuming, because we don't treat each other the same. I mean, you mentioned it earlier that the way men talk to each other, women would never talk to each other that way in the first place. And a man would never be advised to talk to women that way. So if it's your normal way of speaking to your same-sex friends, learning, oh, if I want to get what I want, then I need to learn how to speak differently, use my words differently, structure it differently, because the point is to get what you want. So you want to get what you want, then you ask in a way that both of you have the best chance for success. He has a chance to give it to you. You have a chance to get what you want. I mean, I sound like Dr. Phil all the time when people are saying, but I do it this way. And I go, how's that working for you? I mean, it's not.
Exactly, yeah, right.
And the eye rolling I get when I say, but we were on the phone, so it was pretty immediate. And she's very responsive. She is so willing to do every single thing I say. But the ones who aren't, I accept, and they do lots of eye rolling. And I go, well, just try it. I mean, I don't know. It might not work. So far, it has a bunch. But, and then they go, oh my God, it worked. I go, I know. This is why you pay me.
That's exactly. And that's the thing is not saying we need to change your life, but it's simply the fact is like trying on for size. We have some experience and knowledge and insights that maybe what you're doing isn't working the best way possible. In fact, what we're giving you may do it even better than you've done it before. So
Yeah.
why not try it for a week or a month or a day and see what happens? Because you might be pleasantly surprised that this makes life even better and it makes your relationship even better. What a concept. That's what we're here to help you do.
So if you're feeling really critical in your life in general, I mean, that's really sad. You might be needing to really do even more deep inner work. And if
Yeah.
you're feeling really critical of the people in your life, it's probably because you're not speaking to them in a way that they can give you what you need and want.
Yeah.
Everybody. Because I keep trying, I really need to do a study about how we women learned that if people really cared about us, they could read our minds and we shouldn't have to ask. And it's not good to ask.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you might get let down, or they might do it wrong, or they might think less of you, or it doesn't count if you ask. It's all those really good sounding reasons keep us from getting what we want, which makes us feel more and more critical. And feeling critical does not feel good in your body. I've not ever found it as much as I've done it in my life. I mean, I was one of those people that walked around with the storm cloud with all the dirty looks and the snooty feelings and how come you're doing such a stupid thing and why don't you fix it? And I wasn't going to say a word. And it's terrible. And it felt awful in my body. And I didn't get what I wanted.
Nobody wins.
Nobody. It's lose-lose.
Exactly.
And you and I are teaching win-win.
Exactly. That's the whole point. And the thing, I mean, by the way, sidebar, if you haven't been watching our show or listening to it on podcasts and audio and not taking notes from at least one of the episodes that we've done, go back further and watch more of them. Because frankly, these teachings we're giving you are about win-win in relationships, about having a successful relationship and about how to have your constructive conversations, to have your communications be more profound. So you have more love, more connection, more intimacy, more sex, more joy, more fulfillment in your relationships. That's what we do this for.
Yeah. Yeah. Exclamation point, underlined, bolded on a billboard. Everything Barry just said. If that's what you want in your life, wow, you need to talk to us. Because if you're not having it, you can. I mean, the lady yesterday is all completely turned around, and she hasn't texted me yet today to say what their plans are going to be, but I was very excited that I didn't expect him to text right away, but it was even more fun that he did.
Yeah, we can help you with this.
Yes. There's all the examples, Barry, and I keep giving you about why we can be helpful and why our advice is so well tried and true. I mean, I love when they go, wow, it worked. I go, I know. I don't tell you things lightly. I tell you because I really think it's going to work.
And it's not for our ego, it's for your benefit.
For sure.
Clear,
I mean, we get nice feedback from it, which is good, but we get feedback because we're making your life better. And criticism is an awful way to feel. So if you're feeling all, as my friend Joanne says, whingy, because you're feeling all critical about everybody and their second cousin in your life, or just your significant other, please reach out. And the way to reach out to me is my website, which is www.theperfectcatch.com. You can sign up for my newsletter and you can schedule a complimentary conversation with me if you click on what's holding you back from love. And then you can click on all the little icons at the bottom so that you can go to my social media, Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest and YouTube and Instagram. And I forget whatever one of them is all the time.
We'll say because they're on your website anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So whatever it is, click on it and write to me. Talk to me. Oh, and you can also send me an email at Christine@theperfectcatch.com. And how can people get a hold of you, Mr. Barry?
Indeed. Well, my website is my name, which makes it easiest. Go to barryselby.com, where you can find out all the information about my work. On the homepage, you can sign up for a discovery session with me if you want to. It's the first link on top of the screen. At the bottom, you can join my email list. I've got some new things brewing this month. I've been deep in the process of creating a new relationship readiness assessment that's going to have some really fun stuff in it. So if you want to find out more about that, join my email list at the bottom of the screen, so you can definitely get the information when it comes out, because it'll be coming out sometime, hopefully this coming month. Lots of work ahead. It's been really busy and I've got more to do. If you want to reach out to me directly, you can email me at barryselby.com. And on social media, my name is pretty much on every platform, like YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, Pinterest, And if you want to find me on Instagram, it's The Real Barry Selby. Again, one changes The Real Barry Selby, but definitely YouTube and Facebook where you find me most. And this show, amongst other things, on my YouTube channel, same as on Christine's channel. You find us on audio platforms as well. So you definitely listen to us on podcasts and everything as well, because this message we want to land in your ears so you change your life for the better and your relationship for the better. And I think we're both adamant about this.
And it's one of the things you and I continue to hear from people, that we make dating in the first part, and then when you get in a relationship, fun a lot of the time, which right now people are not feeling like they're having fun in dating much at all. And we really are good at helping you have fun.
Absolutely.
So we're here every week at 1 o'clock Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern, and all the times in between. You can watch us live, and please ask us questions or comments. You can also watch the replay on Going Solo Media on our YouTube channels. And we would love for you to like and subscribe and share it with your friends who are also not feeling very happy with their dating life or their relationships. And share it with your friends. Please share it with your friends. We want to keep getting the word out. So, because you feel like if you're individually happier and your relationship's happier and your nuclear family, then your neighborhood, then your community, then right now we could use it in our country and the world. And so if you are happier, if you just walk around as a happier person, it's kind of catchy. Where you're kind of crabby, it can be catchy. So let's be catchy with happy.
Let's make happy infectious.
Yes. You can watch us on all those platforms, and then you can also take us with you if you go walking or working out on Amazon. Amazon. You can watch us on Apple. You can watch us on Spotify. All the platforms. We're out there everywhere, and you can watch us on Roku too. Apparently, lots of people watch us there.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week for sure with another topic. So definitely, if you haven't watched our broadcast, by the way, we have tons on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube, so you can listen to us, watch us, learn from us, take notes.
Please do. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next week.
Take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.